It's 8 minutes past 9. Don't panic. Peter Serafinowicz in that house. But now, on that phone, it was stupid, wasn't it? We've got a very, very special guest, a musical guest. There is an obsession with Wire in the modern media, Wire in the blood, The Wire. We all remember with fondness the 2004 Christmas super hit from the Deptford band Athlete. Was? But now it's time for a man who took the word Wire and made it his own. He's 1/3 of one of South Wales' finest beat groups, here to talk about new material and all kinds of other things. It's Mr. Nicky Wire. Good morning, Nicky.
Hello, Shaun. Nice to speak to you again. We usually only meet outside hotels.
I'm glad you said that, because I thought I'll let Nicky bring that up, because the last but one time that I saw you, Nicky, was at some filming of something or other.
Yes.
Involving the Zipper Zane law. We'll not say anything else. He was sitting in an unusual position on his chair, and we were saying, you were saying, I often, when I come to London, I often stay in the Langham Hotel, which is across the... I shouldn't tell people that.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Get a lot of stalkers. And then the next time I saw you, a month later, where were you? But outside that very hotel.
I was indeed.
It's very bizarre.
And having a very pleasant couple of days up in London.
It's nice. It must be nice, that, because you just to zip across, do a bit of business, be waited on hand and foot, and then go back to the wife and children.
If you become a talking head like me, you need to be near the BBC.
Of course you do.
Pop in and do these things.
And, obviously, you must pay for it yourself, because the BBC, of course, would just let you sleep under a desk somewhere in Broadcasting House.
I believe paying for my own expenses is the only way.
So, and you know what? One of the things that I've never discussed with you is the fact we all love football, of course. Don't get me wrong. The World Cup's coming up. We're obsessed with it here at 6Music. But you were a player, a contender, weren't you, Nicky?
I kind of was when I was very young. Yeah, Wales youth, and captain of the district and a few trials. But I must admit, Morrissey with a daffodil come out of his arse, it just stopped me from playing football. It just changed my world.
It was Morrissey that was the poster boy, rather than Alan Hansen or somebody like that.
He was, yeah. I was a huge fan of Franz Beckenbauer. I like to think I was like him, that I could play any position.
Oh, you know what's funny is, because I guess we're sort of the same age, but those names are the magical names of an age of football that I understand. Yeah. Franz Beckenbauer, Socrates for Brazil, people like that.
Rossi.
And come on, you help me out here. The Dutch guy, the incredible Dutch striker, Cruyff, Johan Cruyff.
One of the greatest number 10s ever. He used to smoke 50 fags a day as well.
This is what I love about the 80s and the 70s and the 60s footballers. They used to do... one of the Brazilians, and I'm sure it was Socrates, was also a big smoker.
He was, yeah. He was a huge smoker. He used to smoke at half time.
What? Can you imagine anything more ridiculous than that? I'm not saying smoking's big or hard. It's not, and we're glad people have given it up.
I've never had a fag in my life, but
But what a wonderful sight to see.
It was a different era, wasn't it? It was a glorious... That 78 World Cup in Argentina, the chaos, the drugs, the 6-0 bribery win for Argentina against Peru. It was chaos, brilliant.
I even remember watching Scotland doing quite well at one point, which is unusual.
It was. Archie Gemmill, famous goal.
That was it.
The weird thing is, growing up there, in a Welsh household and that, because England didn't qualify 74, 78, you didn't actually know that they were a good team.
Yeah.
Oh, they had been a good team, because the first World Cups I remember was 74 and 78.
When we weren't involved, yeah. Just like 1994. Listen to me, I sound like I care about football. I do a bit. But,
I can't wait. I love it. It's just such a brilliant thing to know that there's at least 4 hours of quality sport on the telly every single day for a month. It's just brilliant.
Even I'm excited. I'm just thinking that you could have been the most cerebral football player since Graham Lasso, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. I'd been like Pat Nevin, say I like the Cocteau Twins all the time.
Oh, he did. And this is the other thing as well, that you're a bass player and that's how we know you. But you kind of started, as many bass players do, if I'm not mistaken, on rhythm guitar.
I did.
Do you still play guitar? Do you still pull the chops out every now and again? Do you still challenge James to a shred down?
Still thrashing away on my D chords, yes. When I did the solo album, it did help me relearn to play the acoustic a bit, but it was that crushing moment, when James was just, like I said, listening to Appetite for Destruction or X on Main Street, and he'd just be learning it all in a week.
Yeah.
And I'd be still trying to learn, Milkman of Human Kindness by Billy Bragg 4 years later.
Well, you've got to know what you're good at and stick to it, haven't you? That's the thing.
I must admit, the cheekbones and the height. Once I got drawn to Paul, Simonon and Sid and what have you, you just kind of thought, this is right for me.
Well, that's right. And none more gorgeous than Paul Simonon. I mean, you know, let's face facts. They're you know, Strummer, Jones, Hedden, fantastic musicians, very charismatic, but, you know, like teeth like smashed pianos, as Matt Everett would say, whereas Paul Simonon was just a different gravy, just more exotic and beautiful. But you is it right to say that you're sitting on some new Manic Street Preachers material, Nicky?
Yeah, we're just finishing now, actually. Hoping to finish this week, started mixing. Album's out in September. And, you know, we're back at one last shot at mass communication, I think.
One last shot. Is this it? Is this the last one? And then you're going to lock down? You're going to go into, you know, sort of a broadcasting career? Maybe you could front my new documentary, which is called The Journey of the Biro.
All right, I like that.
I think you'd be quite good at that. It was exactly, well, there you go. You could be the man for it. But what have you got a working title for the album yet?
Yeah, it's called Postcards from a Young Man.
Oh.
And it's, I know, by one last shot, I just mean it's kind of one last. We just felt like we really wanted to communicate with as many people as we could. We'll still piffle around, you know, doing albums that no one listens to. This might be our last, really. We just listened back to Everything Must Go a lot and Send Away the Tigers, and we tried to marry the two of them, really. Right.
Okay. So, do you is that the way that it works with successful musicians who have a past and who have a career, that sometimes that you get to a point and you think, well, realistically, you have a window where, you know, you've got everybody's ears, and then after that it starts to tail off, or, you know what I mean? Do you feel that instinctively, or can you just stay out there?
I think, you know, sometimes it's just brilliant to step off the treadmill, like with Journal for Plague Lovers, where you make a much more kind of artistic record that you're not worried about, you know, getting on playlists and stuff like that. But at other times, I mean, we're on our 10th album. Apart from maybe the Beatles and the Stones, I can't think of any band on their 10th album will actually sell any records anyway. So we're up against it. I can't believe it's, you know, 18 years since Generation Terrorist, and we're on our 10th record. So you got to give it a good shot to try and still connect with people.
And what are the basic, if it's not too personal question to ask a lyricist, but what are your inspirations for the new album, for the lyrics?
John Gray, the Bookstore Dogs in particular, a book called The Coming Insurrection by the Invisible Committee was a big influence, and poetry of Anne Sexton. Might not sound like that when you read the lyrics,
but that's what informed it, sort of inspirationally.
Definitely.
Me and Philpsy and Lisa just writing those down and thinking I might check that out next time I'm in the bookshop. Well, listen, Nicky, thank you very much for chatting to us. Are you going to be playing much over? You're doing a tour, aren't you?
Yeah, it's probably the most comprehensive tour we've done in 15 years. You know, straddles over 3 months. There's only a couple of dates in the last month, but
still technically over 3 months.
Yeah,
it's the main thing. And so basically, we can catch you in all the enormodomes and theatres of Great Britain over the next couple of months.
There's a few places I don't think we ever played Lincoln before, so we're looking forward to going to the cathedral and stuff there. I
was going to say Lincoln Cathedral. That went big on Toast the Nation on this programme. We still talk about it to this day. Well, listen, thank you very much for rocking our world as usual, Nicky. We look forward to seeing you sweating it out there on the tour, and hopefully the next time you're across the road, you'll pop in person.
I definitely will. It's always a pleasure, Shaun.
You as well, mate. Thank you very much indeed. And as we wait for the new material, we thought we'd play an absolute classic from the Manics.